Hello guys and welcome back. In this lecture, we will be learning about gradients, okay? So what are gradients? Gradients are basically a combination of two or more colors. Simple. It's as simple as that, okay? And in Adobe Illustrator, we have three types of gradients. We have the linear gradient, we have the radial gradient, we have the freeform gradient, okay? And when you come here, you see the gradient panel. Okay, I'm just going to close this. Okay, so we have the gradient panel here, and we have the three types of gradients as you can see here. We have the linear gradient, we have the radial gradient, and freeform gradient. And all these gradients just take after their name. Okay, so for the linear gradient, we have it in a kind of linear way. So the blending between the two colors is kind of in a linear way. Okay, so like for example, this one, we have this color, okay, and this color, okay. So we can see that there is now a blend between the two colors in a linear way from here to here, okay, from here to here. So that's what a linear gradient is. And then the radial gradient has the same blend, but it's in a radial way, okay. Then for the freeform gradient, it's a more complex type of gradient, and we are of course going to look at it last. Now we also have the gradient tool here, which helps us in editing our gradients, okay. So when we select the gradient tool, we see these points. Now these points are what we can use to modify our gradient, okay, to kind of modify our gradient as I am doing right now. And we can modify our gradients from here also. You can see the sliders here, and we can just kind of modify them. We can double click on the points and kind of change the color. So as you can see, we now have this blue color. And of course, we have a lot of options here to choose from. We have swatches to select from, okay. We have this eyedropper tool, which we can use to sample colors, okay. So that's how it works. Just going to choose this guy here, or maybe this other one, yeah. So, and we also have this, which enables us create a new swatch with the selected color, right? And we have this, which enables us delete the swatch or selected. Okay. Some other things we can do here is we can delete points, right? Now, for example, when we click here, we then see that we've deleted that point. When we click here, we've deleted that point. Now we are left with 3 points, okay? And these sliders here can be used to smoothen out our gradient. Now we have other things like the gradient angle, okay, and it's the angle of the gradient, right? Presently we have it at 0 degrees. We can have it at 120. You can see it's modifying here. We have it 135, depending on what we want, okay? Depending on what we want. We can also just select one of the points and then edit the opacity, okay? We can edit the opacity so that it appears less, okay, on our image. So that color appears less on our image. So we can see it's kind of transparent, right? Kind of transparent. And even the location, let's change the location to see how it's it works. So we can see that it chooses a location along this path, okay. And basically that is what we get. These are the options we get to play with. And for this guy, we have the same options, only that this guy is a radial gradient, right? So we can maybe make this 0, and you can see this part is now transparent. Just take it back to 100, and this is just how the radial gradient works, okay. We can use the gradient tool to kind of edit our gradient. We can achieve very nice designs with these gradients, okay. Gradients, we can achieve nice designs, and we're going to use them in further lessons to achieve really cool designs, right? So as you can see, these are some of the things you can do with your gradient. Now we are coming to this guy, who is the big boy here, is called the Freeform Gradient. Okay, and it's the most complex type of gradient here. So I'm just going to drag this shape like this. I'm just going to edit our artboard. Good. Now, when we select the Freeform Gradient, which is this guy, and then click Edit Gradients, we can now see that what it does is it doesn't work like the radial or the linear, but it gives us the ability to draw points on our shape. Okay, so we can draw points. We can just add a point here, and we can see that when we double click on this point, we can edit the color. Okay, edit the color. And then when we double click here, we can use the color picker tool. Okay, and yeah, we can just keep adding points. Choose the color picker tool, make this probably brighter. Okay, yeah, so these are just what we can do with our freeform gradient. Right, and then apart from points, we can also add lines. Okay, we can add lines. So with these lines, let me just create a new one here. Let me just give it a red color for now, and then come and select this guy. Okay, so how do the lines work? Right now, when I select the lines, let me just you know what, let me just make our artboard this big. And the shortcut for your artboard is Shift O. Okay, Shift O give you your artboard. Will help you select your artboard. And this should do. Okay, now when we select the freeform and then edit the gradients, then choose lines instead of points, we can now come and then just keep going and creating points along a line, okay, along a path. And now we can now select each of these lines, or each of these points rather. Select each of these points and assign a color to it. Okay, select the points and assign a color to it. Okay, and we can have the lines and also the points on the same shape, right? We can have, as you can see, these points, this one, this one, and this one are for the points, and these ones which come across, which come along the line, are for the line option, right? And we all have them on the same shape. So you just come add your color, change the color. Okay, then just keep doing that till you get what you want. Okay, so there is a lot we can achieve with these tools. In fact, this is one of my best features or one of my most favorite features in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, I like gradients a lot. Yeah, so you can see we have come up with something very cool here, very interesting, using the line type of freeform gradient. Okay, yeah, so you get the point. You now understand how all these gradients work. So that has brought us to the end of our module on colors and color tools. In the next module, we'll be learning about fonting and typing in Adobe Illustrator. So see you in the next one.